Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host.
Grandma Gail.
All right, guys, we are joined by Jill Zarin and Ally Shapiro. Jill, you might know best from being one of the originals on The Real Housewives of New York. We're also here with her daughter, Ally. Together, they've created the company Jill&Ally, selling crystal candles. We're going to get into all of that. Ladies, thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
so
ladies.
much for having us.
Okay, so we're going to start with your age, relationship status, and where you're currently living.
And say your name, just so the viewers, the listeners can know who's talking.
No problem. So I'm Jill Zarin, and I am 59 years old. This is my big year. I am dating. I have a boyfriend, a serious relationship. I don't think I'm ever gonna
Your partner?
get married again. My partner, significant other, Gary. And I have a mom to Ally, my only daughter.
I'm Ally Shapiro. I'm 30, so it's my big year. And I also have a boyfriend, and our boyfriends are friends. So it's
isn't
a lot
that
of fun.
nice?
Father to son way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not weird.
Not like buddies.
Do you go on double dates?
Yeah, we're
We're
going,
going on a cruise together.
the four of us. So it's going to be our first big vacation with me with a boyfriend, with mom with a boyfriend. So it'll be fun.
What are you nervous about? Anything?
Not really. I think we're gonna have fun.
Killing-
I'd say Gary is the most fun. I mean, everyone says that. Gary's very funny. So he's always, if you need to fill up the space in a conversation, Gary will always entertain you.
He's always a good person around the dinner table. That's very good.
Yeah, Jill, I'm like that too. Like, I want someone who can handle himself in a social situation without me needing to intervene, and that's really hard to find.
It is, and he likes it too. So I'm happy.
Well, we say there can only be one peacock in the relationship. So mom's the peacock,
Definitely.
but Gary lifts her up and I don't think overshadows her, but definitely has his own.
He doesn't compete. It's
Yeah.
always, if I want to go, I do my thing and he sits back and listens. And if I'm exhausted, we can just read each other.
That's
If
very
I'm
nice.
not in the mood or I don't really want to talk to them, he'll just take
Carry it
over.
on.
Ally, what's your role in your relationship? Are you the peacock?
I'm the peacock. He definitely supports me. And I think I always grew up embarrassed of like having anything to do with the celebrity or the housewives or being an influencer. I was always like embarrassed about it and kind of hid it, but he's very, very supportive and not like
He's pushing her.
right. In a good way, not in a jealous way or he wants any spotlight. He's more of like encouraging, like, I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. Like you should be doing these things and get yourself out there more. So it's nice having like a supportive partner, but also like a best friend. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very nice.
that's so nice
wonderful.
because we were literally just saying, you were like, when you're posting all of these things, like guys are going to look at that and not like it.
People in certain kinds of fields of work don't like to have their spouse having such notoriety. It just depends what they do and how confident they are in themselves.
And if they're insecure. If
Yeah.
they're insecure.
Yeah, if they're
then not gonna
insecure.
like it.
Well, and also sometimes the image isn't so great. I mean, the influencer thing, and we are in that category, doesn't always ring such a wonderful signal to other people.
But that's
They
their
don't love it.
problem, not our problem.
Well,
That's their-
you know what? It is what it is. So
then he's not for them.
exactly, he's not for you.
Mhm.
They
You're-
didn't answer your questions where they're living.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
come on, we know their ages now, which are irrelevant.
And I thought we're the ones with the bad memory.
Yeah, no, gosh,
This is really
girls.
good. I forgot that too. I'm the one with the bad memory. So I'm living right now. We are in Sag Harbor. I have a house in Sag Harbor, and I gave up my apartment in the city, and now my main residence is Boca Raton, Florida.
Okay,
And we have a place in Miami, which Ally likes to go to on weekends.
well,
So I
sure,
just
it's fun.
beach. So
And
And
Ally,
ne-
are you based in New York now? During the winter, or are you also in Florida?
I'm full time in the East Village. I live with my boyfriend,
Okay.
which she doesn't love, but circumstances are what they are, and it's expensive to live in New York, and we love living with each other. It's fun. You're living
Also,
with your
get married. I mean, if you love living
Well,
together.
It's new. It's new. We're
yeah.
only
I'm gonna push you to get married.
How
Yeah.
long are you in the relationship, Ally?
we met a year and a half ago.
Okay,
So
right.
about a year.
Okay.
Jill, why didn't you want her to move in? Like, are you more traditional with that stuff?
Very, and there are circumstances that I made it that cost me more money, but I want Ally to be able to have her freedom. So though they live together, it is her lease.
Okay.
And I, pay the rent, or she
Okay.
pays the rent, because I don't want, and then could pay for everything else, but I want Ally to have the freedom that if things don't work out, if whatever reason, a big fight, even if it's whatever, there's not an issue. They're not splitting anything. Goodbye.
It's actually,
you know what I mean?
It's actually really smart because I've had so many friends who lived with their boyfriends
Couple of girlfriends.
and then they broke up and she was like, where do I go? Because the guy had the lease.
Right.
So
She had to leave.
It was his place. But
Yeah.
even in that case, it's like rather it be his place than their place together. Because
It's
if
hard.
it's together, you might as well have gotten married because now you have a divorce to deal with, splitting
Correct.
things. And I don't want that for Ally to have that pressure. I'm not that mother. I'm not going to pressure her. I even said this to Ally, quite honestly, when we were talking, I said, Allison, if you're not married by the time you're 31-ish, freeze your eggs. Don't have that pressure hanging over your head.
Yeah.
I don't want you to have to marry someone to have babies. I want you to marry someone because you love them. She's going to live to 150. When you used to live to
Hope so.
50,
That's right.
it was
Now-
different.
It's very now.
It was a whole different story. So now I don't want her to, you do want them to be together the rest of their lives. Of course, who knows, life is life.
George,
But I don't want her to have that pressure of that clock ticking and make a decision that she's going to have to live with the rest of her life.
Ally, you said this before, but like, what was it like growing up with your mom being on TV on Real Housewives?
When we started the Real Housewives, it was very, very new territory.
Very stigmatized.
And I was embarrassed. I was very embarrassed. I feel like I lost my friends. I didn't really talk about it.
I think she was paranoid, but it was real to her of losing friends.
I did.
You really lost friends?
We'll talk about it later. But yeah,
yes, she did.
She may have lost some, but she also made some that she never would have met.
No. In high school, I lost my friends.
All right.
In high school, I lost my friends. And in college, I never talked about it, never came up. Like there was like right now, if you do anything, it kind of lives on in so many other platforms and you can curate it however you want. It's on TikTok this way. It's on Instagram this way. Back then, the episode aired and that was it. So I just ignored it. I pretended the Housewives didn't happen. It aired. I hope some people didn't watch it. I never really watched it. And that was it. But now, 15 years later, people are still watching those episodes when I was like 14 years old.
Oh, every day on TikTok, it pops up a horrible haircut, terrible shit, no makeup. I mean, there's no question. I think all the Housewives look better 10 years later than they did then.
Absolutely. I always like when they go back and past reunions and show like old clips, I'm like, how do they look better this reunion? And not, is it that they've gotten, tell me why.
We didn't have hair and makeup. None.
Definitely not me.
And now, because they get paid a lot more too, they still don't get hair and makeup during the season most of the time, but they pay for it themselves and they know how important it is. Back then, we didn't even know. We weren't.
Well, they have glam
actors.
squads now.
Yeah, I mean, there was no crib, there was no glam squad, there was nothing. So we only got hair and makeup for interviews and for the reunion, if we were lucky. We had to dress ourselves. We had no help. We still get no help, but it's just a different ballgame. And then last night I was watching the New Jersey Housewives, and it came up that the new girl, the Jewish girl, Jen something, Andy Cohen says, I don't even recognize you. She says, I look in the mirror. I don't recognize myself. He goes, usually it takes a few seasons for the girls to, do things. And she's like, I had a facelift, nose job, and liposuction and lost like 20 pounds on I'm sure, Ozempic. So she doesn't even recognize herself. But that's what happens. The girls tend to, and myself included. I think that if I wasn't on TV, I may not have taken as good care of myself in terms of like, Botox and all that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like when you're looking at yourself all the time, like I'm sure it makes you want to do more of that. So, but it's not really just then getting your hair and makeup done. It is also like cosmetic procedures. I feel like that a lot of these people do that just completely like.
Well, also some of them don't look very good after a while.
Some girls lie about it. It's like Ramona says she never had anything done. I honestly don't know if she says that now, but that was a joke 10 years ago when she clearly did some tweaking, but she was absolutely denying. But that's Ramona. We love her for that.
I think the trends changed. I think also the cameras got better. The production got better.
That's
true. I mean, the production compared even now from New York to Beverly Hills.
You can't compare.
It's so much better. The lighting, they have special lighting and filters on the cameras. Like they blast all the wrinkles away. It's so different.
Listen, if Martha Stewart can be on a bathing suit thing at 80 years old or 81 years old, then they certainly can fix up everybody.
There was no Photoshop. Of course
Yeah,
not.
exactly. They do a little filtering all over the place.
Yeah.
We need filters.
you'll
Jill, what were some of the positives and some of the negatives associated with being on reality TV and specifically Real Housewives?
Number one is my brand. I mean, Ally and I wouldn't have a brand today. I mean, maybe we would, but we certainly wouldn't have gotten here as fast as we did. Jill Zarin Home. I have a rug line that's, probably done $100 million since I started, which was about 6 years ago. And growing. It's probably one of the largest online, right, brands. And I have furniture, and we have an accessories line that we just launched. And I just launched yesterday Jill Zarin Beauty, which is a skincare with a UV defense mechanism so that you don't burn, which is all I care about. Skincare, I think there's just too many products, to be honest. Gets confusing for me. I just give me one thing. Just give me one thing. I'm too busy. And that's kind of what I built it around. And then, of course, Ally and I have Jill&Ally, which started as a mask company. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we'd love to hear that.
Well, it
Love
started
to
as a mask, and we converted it, into candles, crystal manifestation candles, which we could talk about later. But that was the number 1, 2, 3 thing that it did for me. So there were three reasons that I did Housewives. One was to start, to promote that. 2 was to have a history of my family.
It was actually to promote Zarin Fabrics for the initial reason.
Back then it was to promote Zarin Fabrics. It was also to have a diary of our lives, and a historical, so I can go back and look at scenes with Bobby and my parents. And, as life goes on and people leave the planet, I'll be able to still connect with them in a real way by watching, episodes, which I wouldn't have had. And what was the other reason? There were 3 reasons. I can't remember the third.
Well, you made a lot of money.
No, I made no money.
Did they not pay well on that Housewives?
In the beginning, they paid nothing. We got $7,000 the first season.
Gosh. Really?
Episodes, yeah.
Not an episode. You mean the entire season?
That is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't even bother. Of
Nothing.
course, it's more to have
and then
built
it went up a little bit from there. Unfortunately for me, I left before the money really
Right.
started.
Right.
But they still aired those episodes. There's no royalties.
People think
There's
I
no
never
royalties?
paid
Oh,
nothing.
that's
And
interesting.
you know what's such a shame? They didn't pay children or husbands back then. Now they do pay husbands, I understand. But Allison, they was starting to get closer to 18. So I said, can Allison get paid? And they said, oh, we're not going to pay kids till they're 18. They filmed a scene with me a week before her birthday. And I thought that they would film afterwards,
Right.
and they never did. They didn't want to pay the money.
Isn't that interesting?
And it's like with all of the success of Bravo, like that's pennies.
Well,
It's
maybe
not-
not.
It wasn't nice.
We don't know their
It wasn't
books.
nice. It was petty and it wasn't nice,
Right.
so
Wow.
it is what it is. I never did the show to make money on the show. I did it so I can make money without it. And I have to say, probably the only housewife who ever really made a real brand after the show.
Right.
Because Zarin Fabrics, I'm not involved in anymore after Bobby passed and went to his family. So Ally and I, Jill Zarin Home and Jill&Ally all came years after the show. So I'm
You mean
probably-
after you're no longer on show, like the air? Oh, that's
Right.
interesting.
And after her husband.
10 years
passed.
after.
Right, because I left the show in 2011, 12.
Right.
And my brand didn't really start until 2017.
Mhm.
Really. And now
But it
it's
gave you a platform. See, that
Yeah.
was the
Well, I
whole
took
thing. It gave you a
advantage of it, right.
platform.
like some people think I'm still on the Housewives. I would say a lot of people still think I'm on the Housewives because
Well, they would have
may
liked
not
you.
like- they may not have liked the show anymore because it changed. A lot of people tell me they haven't watched it, in a long time, let's say in many seasons. So they still think I'm on it because I'm
Well,
still in the press. I'm promoting myself.
And you did Ultimate Girls Trip, which was like really recent as well. So you have kind of still been in the Bravo universe.
I forgot about Ultimate Girls Trip, which was amazing and really helped some of the housewives get back on the air. I mean, 3 that I can think of actually got back on their shows. They asked me back to do Legacy, but that didn't work out. So I feel good
really was curious about Legacy because I feel like they put out like a press release or something, like people were talking about it. They were aware of
What
it.
was it on page 6?
And then, okay, well, people read page 6 and then I don't know is it happening?
they're doing an Ultimate Girls Trip Legacy. That's what they
Okay.
decided to do. So,
But with New York only?
New York only.
Okay.
But they're all kind of legacy. You know what I mean? Like every Ultimate Girls Trip most of them are people who are off the show. So I'm not really sure what the difference is
Yeah.
between this, except
Don't
that
you
this
think
is
he should
Baltimore.
move on?
It's
Don't you
only
think
New
he
York.
should move on
No,
from this?
people love the
Do they love
OGs.
it?
Like
Are
if
there-
I could get New York Housewives season 1 cast back, I would not leave my couch. Like
Really?
it was
That's
so
what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's, well, I think Bethany won't do it.
Right.
So, and not for a lot of money. And I wouldn't do it unless, I also, because I didn't make any money when I
Right.
did in the beginning. And to be honest with you, it's really not about money. Let's put it this way. If I wanted to do it, I would do it, right? Because I don't need the money. So I don't really want to do it. So if I were going to do it, it has to be for the money.
Right. Because
Right.
A lot of
Does that make sense?
happened on that.
Yeah,
on those
like
screens.
if you thought you were gonna have fun and like catch up with the girls, that's one thing. But if you think
Right.
it's gonna be
I would
like
do it-
stressful,
I would do it for $1.
right? Yeah, it's like
Right,
going
I
on
would
a
do
trip
it
with your
for
friends.
$1 under those circumstances. Oh, exactly. But it's not set up that way,
right.
unfortunately.
And the amount of anxiety it causes, and her biggest anxiety is like, what am I gonna wear? I need an outfit for every day.
Oh my
I need a hair. I need the whole thing just gets so much anxiety, and then the after effects is just
No, it's really
Yeah.
the drama. More than that, it's the drama with some of the girls, not all of
Different
them.
girls, with
Most,
different
actually, not
women.
most of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did
So,
you ever feel like really uncomfortable with any storyline when you were filming that like caused a lot of stress?
Yes, actually. It was on Ultimate Girls Trip when, but you know what? I don't even want to talk about
Yeah.
it, to be honest. I don't wanna bring it up. It was bad.
Can we talk about both of your thoughts on the cast for the new New York Housewives? Have you like seen any promos for that?
yeah.
I've seen promos. We had lunch with two of the girls.
Zarin and Uba.
Who were very sweet. I was the first one, I don't even know, first or only one to reach out to them and to welcome them to even though I'm not even on the show anymore and haven't been for years, I still feel like as an OG, the mother hen, it's just kind of the role I've always played. And I reached out to, I think, all of them, just to welcome them. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. And, we took some out for lunch. I met them when, during BravoCon, there was a, Watch What Happens Live, where they introduced the New York Housewives, and I was there. And I welcomed them then, and I got to meet them, most of them. So, listen, I'm excited for them. I'll totally be positive and good energy. I don't know how it's going to be perceived, to be honest. I don't know how it's going to be received.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them because I feel like it could have been done a different way, where they would have had maybe a better experience. I think a lot of them are just getting a lot of pushback because they're not OGs, and that's not their fault.
Yeah, so I'm actually curious because we're all like New Yorkers. Like when I was watching the beginning seasons, I feel like there was some mutual connections. I was like, oh, Ally goes to a school similar to my school. We probably have friends in common. Grandma Gail knows some of the housewives, whatever. But I haven't like met or encountered these women. My mom hasn't either. I don't know if you don't even know who they are. But like that's kind of interesting to me because if they're real New York housewives, like why wouldn't we know them?
I think that when my mom was the housewife, it was more of like a socialite. That's what they were. They were the socialites, and now it's more of like they're influencers. So I feel like that's the big difference. A lot of them are like creators, influencers, the young moms. They're all over TikTok, all over Instagram. That's their platform, or her platform is like, it was a Hamptons magazine. It was like, you know what I mean? There were socialites. And I think it would have been great if the cast was mixed. Like there was only 4 New York housewives left, and only a few of them. It could have just been like 7 housewives and a few guests. There was no reason to just start from scratch, but I guess Andy
they want
made
to
an
appeal to a younger audience. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not interested in the 60-year-old girls. They want 30 and 25-year-olds.
The thing is that I have fans, and a lot of them are like 20s, and they were like 8 when I was on TV. So clearly they picked up the show during COVID, or as they're older, they're going back and watching original episodes. Right. So I think that their dad is wrong. I think the young people, even though we're old, we took care of ourselves. They're still interested in Ramona and Luann and Sonia.
Do you think so, really?
I am.
No,
they got another show.
Don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, they got a spinoff. Luann and Sonia have another show coming
Luann
out.
And Sonia,
but let's see how they do. Let's see how they do. It's going to be interesting. I think the audience have changed. I really do. I really
Listen,
think.
Ramona's how old? 66, 65?
Yeah.
Look
At
how great
least.
she looks.
No, we're not discussing. They're all very, very beautiful women and very accomplished.
Maybe
It's
just what they're going
it's
through in
what-
life.
Yeah,
like-
I don't know if it hits with younger people what they're going through at this
You know
particular
what?
stage.
Yeah,
But
if
we'll
anybody
see.
knows this, if anyone knows this than us, you know, who better? How much drama has there been in our social circle? Does anything change from when you're in high school to 60s? Really?
you
I'm
say
not
all the time, you're like, these girls act like they're
I'm
in
not
high
going to get
school.
into names, but I don't have to tell you. I'll just give an example with no particular thing in mind. A dinner party coming up on a Saturday night. You know, I ask if I could bring someone. No, you can't bring anybody. I'm
Yeah,
coming.
but, no, but like kids, raising kids in the
what?
city,
All
that kind of
the
stuff.
same shit. They all relate to it. So this one's not invited, and this one's not invited, and this one was invited, and don't talk about it. I'm having a party. Don't tell anybody. Nothing changes. And the kids love watching it, and they learn from it. They learn how to respond or how not to respond, and they just love it. Nothing changes.
You
It
say
really
that
does.
to me. You're like,
Well, I think certain things change. I think you misunderstood. I think the same issues are always around from time and forever. But I think people view things differently today. I'm not sure they're really interested in whether you have 18 vodkas before you go out to a party. I think that it's very different. I think people are much more socially aware. I don't know about these influencers that they're doing on the show now. I don't know anything about them. But I would think there's a little more about kindness coming out in society over the air. I don't think the audience wants to see the fighting. I really
oh my
don't.
God, you're so wrong.
Well, that's
You're
why I
so
don't
wrong.
produce this show.
But I will say this.
I would hope that they don't. That would
Well,
be
this is
my
what I'll
hope.
say. I'll say
They
there's a
want the
degree.
fighting.
They want the fighting, but they
Yeah.
don't want it where you can't make up.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And
Not
what
the
happens
meanness.
is, and it happens with me, when there's no makeup and resolution, the audience is very resentful.
That's
Yes, that's
all right,
so
that's the
They
way
true.
want
I
a
put it.
Cinderella
Thank you.
ending. They want to see. That's why the Kardashians has done so well. You know why?
That's correct.
Because they kill each other,
The
but
family.
they
They
wrap it up
kiss.
at the end and they're all friends. Or,
Exactly.
you know, family is family.
Right.
Mhm.
Although
Right.
on New Jersey, blood is not thicker than water. You know, if that's what's happening on that show. But the audience wants it. The audience wants the brother and sister to make up.
It's so true. And that's why like Andy has reunions, because it's like, even if things were awkward at the end of a season, like no matter what, you're going to come back together, you're going to talk it out, and it's going to be like resolved.
But it doesn't always. And that's a problem. And that's where your Emma's right. That's where Gail's right. The audience wants it cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
They
think
do.
that-
But they
yeah.
want the fight. Otherwise, they don't want to watch
like
me
the
getting
controversy. They like the excitement of it, and they
don't
love
wanna
getting
see- what
involved
else
in their
do they do?
lives.
They want to see us horseback riding or
Right,
getting
exactly.
I
Well,
mean, it has to-
vicariously, they're living through you. I mean, we find that even with our conversation, people want to live our lives and they get involved. They really get involved with your personal life. Whether I fall on the floor, they want to know, is my leg better? I mean, people do get involved with people over TikTok and social media, and whether for right or for wrong, it's just the nature of the space right now.
I was telling someone the other day that the number one thing people ask me when they meet me in person is, how's your mother?
Right.
How's my sister? And how's my daughter?
Yeah,
That's so nice.
Don't ask
they're
me about a
involved with your
fight.
personal life.
Mhm.
Like, they don't care about a fight or anything. And my mother was on the show literally 3 or 4 times for 3 minutes.
Right.
And she resonated with the whole world. It's
Yeah.
really amazing. But that's what people care about. They
That's
want
what
to
they
see
care
more
about.
glory.
Correct.
Mhm.
They want to see more family interaction, real. That's why the Kardashians, again, have done so well,
Mhm.
because they know that's real.
And they're very smart. Evidently, they're very smart. They figured it out. They have a formula, those girls.
Ally, I'm curious, like, if your mom never had this TV stint, would you be in a different place right now? Like, would you have pursued a different type of career, or do you think you still would have been entrepreneurial, doing something kind of in this space?
No, I did. I went to Vanderbilt. I went to school in Nashville. And then I got a master's in art in London. I wanted my own career. I made my own path. I worked in art for 2 years. That was my life. Like, I did not want anything to do with reality TV or influencer stuff
Yeah.
or anything. And then COVID happened and my company went bankrupt. Went to Florida. We started tie-dyeing masks. Started a
then-
mask company.
That was a great idea.
And that was it. I mean, there was no going back. The company that I
And there
loved.
was no plan. It wasn't like a plan.
Yeah. But no, I wanted to work in art. That was my life's passion and my path. And, for good,
Doesn't
for
always
better, or
work.
for worse, right. It changed. So now thank thankfully I had this to like fall back on. But it's wonderful working with family and with my mom. Obviously, sometimes I wish there were like some boundaries, especially when we're together. It's tough. We work 24/7. Like I was emailing from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m.
I pick up my phone this morning. I get up at 6, 2:30 in the morning. She's talking to not someone in China. She's talking to my warehouse manager.
Yeah. So it never
At
stops.
2:30 in the morning. It never stops.
So when you work with family, work for yourself, there, it's easier in some ways, but it's a lot harder in other ways. There's no boundaries. It's 24/7. And you'll never work harder than for yourself. So
That's true.
Such a good point. I feel like we can relate
Never
to
work
that.
hard.
And then what gave you guys the idea to focus on candles and specifically, incorporating crystals and manifesting?
Well, so we started with the face masks and they were very colorful, kind of like bringing light to a very heavy.
They were tie-dyeing them.
They were tie-dyeing them. And it just got to a point where we're like, what's next? And we thinking about other products that we love, and we love candles. We're obsessed with candles. So yeah, we made these candles, like positive messages, manifestations, affirmations that went along with what was happening at the time. I feel like manifesting got very trendy and everyone was doing it. And so were we, and bringing light to like a dark situation. Here's
so
a love
pretty. The
candle.
candles are beautiful. The box is beautiful.
Thank you.
This one's my favorite because I think you can do everything in life or whatever, but if you don't, my father always said, if you don't have a little bit of luck, you need a little luck.
That's
Mhm.
true.
For those who are just listening, the candle says luck on it. So what is the process like? Do you light it and then you like are supposed to think about how luck can be brought to you, or what?
Supposed
How
to
do you
chill
like
out
to?
and think about those themes? I'm sure. Tell
Yeah,
us
and I
about
mean, if you think about candles, it is a very spiritual process, right? Like all of our religions, even birthdays, you blow out a candle to kind of set your intention and your wish into the world.
That's true.
So yeah,
I never thought of
That's
that.
good.
I really like
Put that on your website.
That's the first time you actually said that. I never thought
Oh,
of that. Did
that's-
you ever think of that? You're right.
No,
When you
it's very
start to
good.
get wish, don't tell anybody. It's a matter
She
of
has
your
2 master's
intention.
degrees to figure that out.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Oh
I'm
my
so almost
God.
60 years. Did you think of that?
yes. Anyway, so yes, you think of your intention as you're lighting it. You don't have to say it. You can write it down. I'm not a journaling person, but people do write it down.
They do. a lot.
And I feel like when it's lighting, it's kind of sending your intention to the air, again, like a birthday wish. And you take out the crystals. So you have the crystal with you forever. Our creative director is about to give birth any day. She's 9 months pregnant. And she has like a bowl of crystals next to her bed and wants to bring them to the hospital with her. So it's a nice like keepsake. As your candle is done, you still have these crystals that live on.
And these crystals in a store would be anywhere from like $5 to $20. Like an amethyst would be more expensive.
Mhm.
Or it's less. But we average, priced it. So they're all $45 and they last like 75 hours. They smell, we really loaded them with scent because we want people to buy one and say, I love this and I want to buy more. We don't
Right.
want them to buy it and go, oh, I think, it doesn't smell.
Yeah.
Sometimes candles smell really good on the top, but they don't put the fragrance
All the
throughout
way
the
through.
And that's why they're $10 candles, in store.
So we have over 40 different candles, and we're just now making like the same sayings in other colors. So maybe you loved luck, but didn't want it in green. So now you can get the green in pink. And people ask us to customize their candle. We're like, we can't do that yet.
Okay.
But, as we expand, we'll be able to have different options. I think for scents, we initially started with what we love. So we love like high-end luxury hotel fragrances.
Le Labo,
Labo,
Santal.
Datique, the One Hotel. We like mimicked a lot of those fragrances. And then we have to do what our fans, our customers love also. So if you like more of a gardenia or a calming
And
scent,
champagne was
we
a
try
big
to
one.
have something for everyone.
What are some of your, I guess, favorite things that you've created together so far? Do you each have a favorite?
Not really.
Probably pickleball paddles.
Oh, well, in terms of
Oh, we're back
product,
to, we're back to
Yeah.
those pickle. I like that.
pickleball. Well, I'm a big tennis player. So when
Right.
pickleball started, I was like, and then I played it and I fell in love with it. So
Well, it'll be
We
interesting
want
to see. They're
pickleball.
building a lot of the courts. A lot of places really are starting to have pickleball
Mhm.
courts.
We played in Central Park in New York. It was so much fun.
That's
yeah, and
great.
the court that I have here has pickleball lines on it. So you can play
Oh,
either
nice.
way.
Oh, that's fun.
Jill,
A lot-
since you've been spending time in Boca, do you feel like it's big there as well? And like, what are some of the other things you like to do there?
Well, Well, where I live in a place called Woodfield Country Club, and it was like one of the original meccas for pickleball. It was like one of the starting places.
They wanted to put it in East Hampton. It's very interesting. They wanted to put it in the parking lot, and people objected. Is there more noise to the ball than the tennis ball?
Why? I'm actually inadvertently directly involved in pickleball, the whole sport from like Major League Baseball. So I know a little bit of information. Yes, the ball is loud when multiplied by multiple courts. One ball, whatever. But if you've got like 3 or 4 courts going, it makes it very kind of like a ping pong, but very loud. They're starting to develop other balls, testing rubber and things like that to see if it's just as effective, but not as loud.
And then when you're in New York, do you have a spot that you like to go to together?
Favorite restaurant?
I stay with my friend Julia Hart. I don't know if you know who she is or if you interviewed her yet.
Yeah. Batsheva was on our podcast. Yeah.
She's got a chef. It's all set up. I don't have to leave. It's so nice there.
Like, I'm born and raised in New York my whole life. She calls me the other day. She's like, have you ever been to Tribeca? Like, did you know there's this restaurant and this restaurant? Like, Tribeca is so cool.
Because she lives in Tribeca. I lived on the Upper East Side. I never went below 59th Street. So, I mean, I don't say never, but you know how far it is. It's like an hour to get down there. So I would never go to Tribeca for dinner.
No, that is the most relatable thing that's been said today, because I feel like you'll do the same exact thing.
Now they're going to have congestion pricing. So nobody above 50, I think 59th Street is going downtown because they're going to charge.
But you truly
What do you?
I thought they had it already, didn't they?
No, it hasn't started yet. But it's going to start soon. I don't know what the actual date is, maybe July, but it hasn't been put into effect yet. But
where do you live? Upper East Side?
I live on the Upper East Side. Kimmy lives down in Chelsea. Nomad, right?
Yeah, which is like, I tried to pick someplace kind of in the middle because I'm constantly coming uptown and then I'm constantly meeting my friends downtown. But it is like, I packed a whole bag to come uptown. Like, I'm moving, like going on vacation for a week. I want to end the episode with a game we play with all of our guests, Grandma Gail's old-fashioned dating quiz. So we're going to go through some hypotheticals and then deem whether both of you are more of an old-fashioned dater or more of a modern dater. So either her camp or mine. Okay. So the first one is, would you rather receive a call or a text from your partner if it's just to say hi?
Jill has to answer first because again, they're not going to know who it is.
Text to just say hi. Text.
Okay, text. Ally, what do you think?
I like a phone call.
Opposite.
Okay. Opposite. Would you sleep with someone on the first date?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Dating apps or setups?
I have to say, when Bobby passed, I was, I don't want to say looking forward to is the wrong word, but I was, looking forward to doing the app because I had never done that in my dating life. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I got married very young. So Gary, kind of jumped in there and squatted me, and I never got to date anybody.
So you never made a profile?
No.
And I really wanted to. So I think if I hadn't had the experience, maybe my answer would be different, set up. But I was kind of looking forward to doing the swipe thing.
That's so funny. Ally, did you ever do the apps?
I did the apps. My boyfriend now is my first like really serious boyfriend. So I did the apps for 10 years. Mm-hmm. I don't think I got successfully set up often. And meeting my boyfriend now was kind of a setup. So I'm a bit, I never would have met him on a dating app because he's much younger than me. So he wouldn't have been in my range.
Much, only 2 years.
But that's younger than my dating app profile was.
Right.
So I think meeting someone in real life and a setup gives you more of like an opportunity of who you would meet than just a dating app, because you might like have swiped and have missed someone,
Yeah, no, makes sense. Would you move in together before getting engaged or wait until you're engaged or married?
Well, we know their answers on this one.
I say if you're engaged, you can move in together.
But not before.
Not before. Well, obviously, it didn't work out for me with Ally.
Well, you're a hypocrite because you live with your boyfriend. You're not.
But that's the second time around. She's entitled.
Third time. But
third time, she's definitely entitled.
My first husband, we got divorced, and Bobby passed away. So that's why number 3. I would have still been married if Bobby was here. What was I saying? I forgot.
Living together.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, if you're not having children, like in the second part of your life.
Right. Doesn't matter.
Mhm.
then I think it doesn't matter. I think it's really about children and setting examples and trying not to be a hypocrite and all that stuff. But we're all hypocrites, all of us, everyone's a little bit.
Okay.
And yes, I think you can move in.
Yes. Okay. The last one is, who should pay for the date? Should it be one person in a relationship, or should you alternate, split?
I'm old fashioned, guy has to pay. But that's not this generation.
I think guy has to pay until you're at a certain point in the relationship. When you're like a year in, I don't think you can expect your boyfriend or girlfriend to pay for every single meal all the time. I mean, it adds up.
I think if you're in a relationship, all those things are on the table to
Yeah.
share. But I think what they're talking about is
Yeah,
in the beginning,
In the
the
beginning.
courting part.
Yeah, the person that's courting
My
should pay.
friend Suzanne, she went out on a date, really rich guy from Westport, Connecticut. And they went out on a date. She, I think, went up to Connecticut to have dinner. And she went home. She thought everything was okay. Do you know that he either sent her an email or he called her up and like yelled at her that she didn't offer to split the check?
Oh, wow. Can him. That would have been
Bad.
Ban him, shoot him, put him down so he doesn't do that
Exactly.
to
Do
anyone
this to
else.
somebody else.
Like a
Yeah.
dog, shoot him down. Yeah, I couldn't believe that the successful guy, 60 years old, expected another successful woman to split the check.
Bad,
not
bad
good.
choice of going
Oh,
out
that
with
she
him.
would even think not to.
Right.
Something's wrong with him. And he's widowed, so clearly he's going to get checked as the date.
No, somebody will find him and say you pay for it a couple of times, and then they'll marry him, and then he'll be paying.
They get all his money. I don't know.
Exactly. So you're half and half, both of you.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe 3 out of 5 though were more on the traditional side, but pretty split.
Pretty split.
Yeah.
Which is what I would expect.
Yes.
What are you
Um,
guys thinking or different?
She's traditional and I'm like pretty half and half also, but a little bit more modern. But we're
Becoming more modern all the
she's
time.
becoming more modern and I'm becoming more old
Traditional.
fashioned.
You're switching roles
Yeah.
as we progress with this relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you both for joining us. Tell everyone listening where they can follow you, get all your products, everything you want them to know.
Yes, Jill&Ally.com for crystal manifestation candles and pickleball paddles, and JillZarin.com for her rugs, furniture, all that fun stuff. And I'm at Ally Shapiro, at Mrs. Jill Zarin.
I also just
And-
want to say we just launched our rugs, washable rugs for outside, and they are so much fun. They start at like $49. It's cheaper to buy that and take that to the beach than like a towel, and it's much prettier, better for photos because everybody's about the photo, the Instagram. Like some of them have lemons and fruit, like really,
So
really
cute.
fun. Palm leaves, like the hotel that we were just looking at, like the Beverly Hills Hotel. And then, my indoor outdoor rugs are really what people absolutely love and need at this time of year, and they are on sale. So, Ally, I think we're doing an additional discount on our candles.
Yeah, can we make a code for you guys? The EMG20 on Jill&Ally.com.
Everything will be 20 off, and we have things on sale. It'll be also on top of the sale. So that'll be great.
That's amazing. Thank you guys. So now you get a little bit of a discount if you want to head over to their website for everyone listening, EMG20. Thank you both so much. We had so much fun. Another great episode of Excuse My Grandma. Rate us 5 stars wherever you're listening. If you don't already follow us on social media, we're Excuse My Grandma, so look that up on Instagram and TikTok. We'll see you next week.